Hey everybody, Doom here from Dungeons and Doom Biscuit, and I'm back for part 2 of my bridge that's in 3 parts, so I guess technically it's modular. I am going to go ahead and get started right away. I'm using my favorite color on earth, pavement, to get started. Is pavement frozen? I think my paint is frozen. There we go. It just wasn't coming out, that's all. So what I want to do is I'm more worried about these inside parts here that are going to be concrete looking. I want to get in all the little cracks inside there on each of these parts. It doesn't have to be a beautiful or even paint coat either. It just has to all be pavement. Okay. Okay, we're getting there. It's going quick, see? Get your excess paint and just shove it off to the side. Don't worry about the excess, just leave it. We'll dry that up. It'll look all right in a minute. Get all that pavement in there. Everywhere where there's not something on top of it. And don't worry, like I said, don't worry about painting the shit on top of the pavement too. It'll be okay. We'll paint back over that in a minute. If you have some excess black paint that was wet from the spray, like I did there, because it's freezing cold and it's just not dry because I hit it with a hair dryer quickly, don't panic. Just rub it in with the pavement, and in that spot your undercoat will be a little darker. Okay, we gotta get in that little groove there. La 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 la. All right, so we can set that off to the side for now, and let's get these in position to blow dry them. And that'll be the base coat of our concrete. And once you have that 90% dry or better, what you want to do is you want to get some scissors and a piece of an old t-shirt. Now, you can use a sponge, but I don't think the sponge looks as good as something like this. I have this t-shirt that's like the same as like, what do you call that stuff you wear? Like underwear, like long underwear kind of deal. You just want to get a little bit of that, and you want to get that gray you had, and you want to get a lighter gray to mix in with that. Okay, and you want to kind of find something in the middle there like that, and then just get your piece of fabric, dab it around, hitting concrete once with the lighter gray. And if you pick up any of your wetter gray with that, that's okay too, because you have some that didn't dry. I have some that didn't dry anyways, because I was impatient, okay? So I'm just going to do that again on here. And I'm just going to dab it around. Give my concrete some variation. Now, this concrete is very, very dirty, so gray is just the first dabbing I'm going to give this, right? I'm going to add some tans in here and maybe some reds. So I have that there. I'm not going to do anything special, but add a little bit more paint to it. And I'm just going to get some tan color here. And that's more than I wanted. And I shouldn't have put it right in the middle there, so I'm just going to wipe it off to the side. Then I'm going to lighten that up with that tan. Like that. I'm going to get my piece. Okay. I'm going to do the same crap. Different. Okay. Just like that. And then we could add a little bit of a red to it. Probably wouldn't hurt. I'm going to get a little bit of red up here. And I'm going to get a little bit of copper to add to that red. Oh shit, that's a lot of copper. All right, we're going to be real careful about this piece. Try to get the red more than the copper. Mix into the gunk. Because everything in this world has rust on it. Because everything's rusted. Okay. Okay, something like that. Set that off to the side. Now let's get any of these colors that we have excess of. Grays and metals and whatever. And let's paint the sides of our bridge while we're at this. Something like that. Doesn't matter what color we use. Doesn't matter how good of a job we do. We'll paint the pylon pieces with these that we made out of our glue containers. Okay. These don't have to, none of this has to be perfect, okay? There's a spot I missed with paint, spray paint. I'm just going to go right over that. Call it a win. Okay. This is just a gross and hideous color for damn sure. Okay, now we want to come along the insides. And we don't want to get it all over the road, so just try to be a little mindful of that. You don't have to hit every square inch of that. It doesn't have to be perfect. A little bit of variation is going to help you keep it looking how you want it to look. Okay, and I didn't do this one, so I'm going to quickly hit that up. All right, now we need a brownish color. So I'm just going to keep using this. I'm going to add a dark brown to it. I'm going to switch brushes. Get rid of that brush. I'm going to get a real thin, kind of wide deal like that. I'm going to get it wet. Okay. And then we're going to paint You don't want to do what I'm doing where I'm getting the overpaint here. That's irresponsible of me. This brush is probably too big for the job. It is. I need something smaller. There we go. Something a little more manageable. You want to paint your panels. I didn't paint this panel. We'll hit it quickly. And your panels don't need a beautiful edge line. They don't need painted all the way out to the edge perfectly anyways. Okay. Oop. Making a big old mess here. That's okay. All right, so let's talk about my wife for a minute. I do not like my tacos with all that nasty, salty seasoning that you're supposed to put a whole packet of per pound. So for like 3 pounds of taco meat, I only mix like 1 packet, if that, in there, okay? Like, that's a lot for me to mix a whole packet. That would be my preference, is that we would not kill ourselves with sodium. She was not even eating the tacos that she made for us. She was eating potato soup that her sister made her for dinner. But she still decided to pollute and destroy the taco meat. So in a sign of protest, I refuse to eat. Because I'm a grown-up. My wages pay for pretty much everything. So if I don't want to eat something, I'm not eating it. She's mad at me. Well, I've said 100 times I don't like it. Just because you like it doesn't mean you have to make it that way for everybody else, so we have to suffer. The little boys, completely happy to eat it the way I make it, with 1 packet per. Now, don't get me wrong. I do add some other stuff to it when I do that. I don't just leave it generically 1 packet with no other flavor. I add other flavors in, but it's not, my primary focus is not to sodium kill my family. Okay, these are starting to look pretty good. Okay, piece of cardboard. First with a metallic, like a copper and a brown mix. We already have that out, so I'm just going to get a brush that'll work good for this. More copper than brown. A little bit of red in there's fine. Okay. Okay. I'm going to dab around and create some variation. Some weathering and some wear. And like I said, there's rust on everything. So it's okay if there's some of that on your roads. And that might even break up the oversplash that you had a little bit. Okay. Now you want a metallic. I'm going to use this color here. Like a silver. Get some of your brown, some of that. Okay. And you want to get a lot of this off. This is more of a dry brush at this point. High spots around your plates. Okay, then get a small brush and do any kind of finish work you want to do on yours. So I'd like to have some color on here a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get that red I had. I'm going to squirt a little bit of that right there. Let me get some water. I'm not going to go all the way out to the edges of my plate. I'm just going to kind of drag it around jagged and push it around. When that dries, it should be remotely interesting. In theory, do the same thing on this one. Usually I do the red before I do the dry brush of silver. I didn't think about it. Or red, not red, but any color I'm doing on plating. I'm really regretting that I didn't do English. That I didn't take English. I'm really regretting that I didn't do rivets on those. That would have been a nice little detail. There we go. A bit of blue. My brush is pretty wet. And if you don't get every little spot, it'll be okay, I promise. Jagged little edges. Okay, I need one more color for over there. I'm going to grab this green here. Oh, that's a lot of green. And I'm going to do this one here. Just like that. Okay. I'm going to take that green. I'm going to mix it with some of this brown. I'm going to make a mucky muck color for this glue sticking up here. Okay. Do all my sticking up glue with that mucky muck color. Okay. I had the scratches there, right here. I'm going to drag that mucky muck and dab it around in there. And then I'm going to get, if I can find it, I have a color called English Ivy somewhere, anywhere. English Ivy, no? Can't seem to find it. There it is. And this stuff makes a really good, it's called English Ivy Green. Depending on the thickness you do it, it makes a good kind of moss if you water it down well. There's that little 3D bit of super glue, or baking soda and super glue. I want to make sure I hit that spot with it. And I'm just going to get in some of these little cracks or areas where I'm not super satisfied with where things came together on the paint job. And I'm just going to kind of dab it around. Get a little bit wetter, spread it out a little bit more, make it last a little longer. Because the different depths of, or the different amounts of the saturation of the paint drying is going to create different tones of that green. If there's any spots like this that you hate really bad, where like the metal, the orange went over or whatever, just come over there and dab that with that. That'll help break that up some and make it look like less of an over paint. All right, we can set this off to the side. Let's take a look if there's anything else we need to do. There's definitely another step I want to add, so I'm going to grab a piece of cardboard again. I have metallic black. If you don't have metallic black, you can mix black and metallic and do the same thing I'm about to do. This is not a good piece to use. I'm going to flip this over at an angle and use this. I'm going to get some metallic black. That's a lot more than I wanted. I'm going to get some water. I'm going to pull some of that out, and I'm going to let it soak under there, dab it around, and create kind of an oily effect on my bridging spots where it needs it, because bridges could definitely have oil. This is a really good thing to use to cover things you don't like and mistakes too. This is perfect for that. Look at that. If I'm not happy with something, this is a really good time to cover it up is with that. Okay? Cool, cool, cool. So there you go. That's how you do that. Make yourself an easy, nice bridge. 45 minutes, 50 minutes, start to finish. If you pre-cut your shit, or don't really add as much detail, or paint it lazily, which I painted this super lazily, so I don't know who I'm trying to bullshit. Now, if you don't use a hot air gun, that oily stuff will dry a lot nicer. I'm going to come back in with a wet brush, kind of dab that around some to get rid of the run lines where I don't want them. You don't have to do that, though. And then just let this naturally dry, clear coat it, and you have a forever piece that's going to do exactly what you need it to. Put that together. Ta-da! From the side, let me show it to you real quick before we go. Ta-da! You got a gap under there. Okay? So please like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell icon, leave a comment. God, do I love comments. Yeah, I know we're trash down here. It's time to do some cleaning. If you like all the tips you heard in this video, try playing it in reverse and see how you like those tips. Gangsta. My name's been Doom. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.